press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello dear students, I am Ashwini before you, and together we will try to understand and learn a very important chapter in biology, control and coordination. I have heard many students saying that biology is their favorite subject. The reason is biology is that science which deals with life. Hence, biology is very interesting, very near and dear to us. Here is a chapter, Control and Coordination, which makes you like biology even more than ever before. So, let's try to explore it. Before we could start the topic, I would like to quote certain examples. I want you to imagine these situations. Imagine you are into a supermarket and you happen to meet your friend there. The moment you see your friend, what do? Out of joy, out of excitement, you wave your hand at your friend. And also you say, "Hi, hello, how come you here?" Is it not? We say all these things. We make so many moments, we wave our hands. Imagine another situation wherein someone slaps you for no reason. You are innocent, but someone slaps you. What do? Do you say, "Okay, that's fine, slap me again"? No, we don't usually say that. Out of anger, you question them, "Hey, why did you beat me? Why did you slap me?" Some of us may even rage out and try to slap them back. Imagine another situation wherein there is a poisonous snake in front of you and it's going to bite you in a short while. What do? Do you say hi to snake? No, we just want to escape. We just run like anything. We get frightened initially and later on we just want to escape encountering the danger. What do you do? We just want to escape and save our lives. When you touch a hot object, a very hot object, immediately you take back your hands. Even without thinking for a second, within a fraction of a second, very quickly, what do? We take back our hands. So in all these examples, what is that you observe? What is the common thing you observe? The common thing that is happening in all this situation is there is a tremendous amount of activity happening. There is a tremendous amount of activity and movements are happening. We wave our hand, we run, we make movements of our neck. There are so many types of movements happening in all these situations. So, movement is what I am speaking about, and in our textbook, few examples related to these movements have been given, and here the introduction is done in this way. Whenever a common man is asked to decide whether something is alive or not, usually what a common man does, what is the criteria which we usually use in deciding whether something is alive or not? We usually see whether an object is alive or not by checking its movement. If there is a noticeable movement, visible movements, we usually conclude that the object or that something is alive. If we don't observe any movements, any visible movements over a period of time, we conclude that it must be dead. Movement could be of two types. One is growth dependent movement, the other is growth independent movement. Growth dependent movement is movement happening with respect to growth. This is what we usually see in plants. When a plant germinates, when a seed germinates, what happens? In the course of its growth, it also makes movement. A seed germinating will push the soil around it aside and it comes up. So this is what we see in plants, movement related to growth. But in the examples which I quoted now, in all these examples, we have nothing to do with growth. Looking at your friend, you waving your hand has got nothing to do with your growth. or a dog barking, a cat running, children playing, a woman yelling, or a buffalo cutting cheeve. Buffalo is chewing its cud. In all these examples, we don't find anything related to growth. There are moments, but these moments have got nothing to do with growth. So, a cat must be running to catch a mouse. A dog must be barking, looking at a thief. And children are playing out of their joy. They're enjoying and they're playing. And when we touch a hot object, we make movements to protect ourselves. So in all these cases, movements are definitely happening. Buffalo chewing its cud, movement is happening, but has got nothing to do with its growth. So these are the movements which have nothing to do with growth. Then what are these movements? What do these movements indicate? So these are the movements that are related to something, an organism, responding to the changes in the external environment. Yes, you are right. I am speaking about response to stimulus. So there's a response to stimulus is the basic tendency exhibited by any living organism. We respond. How do we respond? We respond according to the changes in the external environment. So changes in the external environment are referred to as stimuli. Stimuli are the changes in the environment. Changes in the external environment. And for those changes in the environment, we react in certain way. So our reaction or our behavior towards such changes in the environment are referred to as responses. So responses are our reactions or our behavior, reactions for these changes in the environment, for these changes or the reactions which we exhibit for these changes in the environment, for the stimuli, they are referred to as responses. In all these examples, what have we seen? We have seen tremendous movement happening, but these movement are nothing but responses. Responses for stimuli. There are certain changes occurred in the environment, and for those changes in the environment, we behaved in certain manner. We responded. So these are the responses which we have seen in the form of movements. So that is what I am speaking about. So the basic tendency every organism has got is responding to the changes, and this basic property is called as irritability. Irritability. So irritability is the basic tendency that every organism exhibits in response to reactions, changes in the environment. So these changes or these responses, irritability or these responses could be of two types. In all these examples, what have we seen is movements. So responses are of two types basically. One is movement and the other is secretion of chemicals in our body. There are two major pathways. I'll discuss about it later. So in all these examples, we have seen responses in the form of movement. There is also another way by which our body responds, that is by secretion of chemicals inside our body with the help of glands. So glands keep on secreting certain chemicals. This is also another way, another type of response which our body exhibits. So this is what we are speaking about. So response to stimuli, we have come across all these things. Some responses are voluntary in nature. For certain type of reactions, for certain type of situations, we decide how to react, and there are certain situations where our reactions are involuntary, and certain type of situations we encounter certain other type of situations wherein we don't even find time to think about them, all of a sudden immediately we just respond, reflexively we respond. So whatever the kind of situation is, whatever the kind of response is, these responses or this response to stimuli, these reactions are very, very carefully controlled. They are very carefully controlled. So what do you think about this? These reactions are very carefully controlled, and how do we react? We react based on the situations. We don't exhibit the same type of responses to every given situation. When we look at our friend, we wave our hand, and out of excitement, we say hi and hello to our friend. But when we look at a snake, do we say hi to the snake? No, the response is completely different there. We just want to run away. We just want to save our lives. So the responses differ, the responses change based on the external stimuli, based on the situation, based on the changes in the environment. So how do you think these responses happen, and how do you think these stimuli we receive stimuli? What is the mechanism? Whatever the situation, an organism operates in the external world. Any organism operates in the external world using sense organs. So these 5 sense organs are the receptors. So with the help of 5 sense organs, we just receive things, stimuli, we receive stimuli using these sense organs, and once the stimuli is got, chemical signaling is transferred to electrical signals, and processing happens inside our body, and finally response is seen through the muscles or glands. So the receptors, the receivers, stimuli receiving agents or sense organs are the one that receive the stimuli, and effect is seen, the response is seen where? In the muscles, by the contraction of muscles or glands. It stimulates glands so that hormones, these chemicals are released and the response is set up. So this is the basic idea behind response to stimulus. So whatever the type of responses, whether it is in terms of movements or whether it is in terms of secretion of chemical substances, this must be very, very carefully controlled. And there must be a system in our body, wherein all these things must be very carefully and very precisely communicated. There must be communication and coordination among various parts of our body so that this happens in a precise manner. So there is a system in our body, which regulates, which manages all these things, and this system is the system of control and coordination. It's highly organized. There must be a proper communication and coordination among various parts of our body, and the system which it does this is the system of control and coordination. So with this introduction, let's move on. I told you any organism has got a basic tendency of irritability or response to stimulus. Why do you think an organism has to respond to the stimuli? Why do you think there must be this property, this tendency? Why do you think this is really important? Think of a situation wherein you have been chased by a dog. So a dog is chasing you. So what happens? What happens when a dog is chasing you and it's about to bite you? You get frightened and you just run. You just want to save your life. You just want to protect yourself. So you are exhibiting certain type of responses here. Why do you think this is important? Why do you think an organism responds to stimulus? There are 2 major reasons I could quote. The basic reason why response to stimulus is important are, one thing is, an organism wants to protect itself. An organism wants to protect itself from dangers. This is the basic thing why response to stimulus is important. So whenever we touch hot objects, we know that holding on to a hot object would damage, would cause harm to us. So even before thinking about it, thinking, even we don't think of all these consequences, immediately we take back our hands. Whenever you see a poisonous snake in front of you, you don't think about it, you immediately want to run away, is it not? So this is to protect ourselves. An organism wants to protect itself from these dangers. It understands the situation. An organism understands the changes have been happening in the environment. You're walking on a street, all of a sudden a dog is chasing you. There is a change in the environment and you realize that a dog chasing me probably is going to bite me, so I just want to escape, and you start running faster than the dog. So this is to protect ourselves from the dangers that we encounter, dangers that we realize. This is the first reason why response to stimulus is important. The other reason is an organism takes advantage over the situation. Takes advantage over the changes in the environment. So what is this taking advantage over the changes? See, here is where we decide what to do. You meet your friend, and by looking at your friend, what do? You say hi to him or her. You wave your hand at your friend. This is where you are taking advantage of the situation. The situation makes you happy. The situation makes you happy and you want to take advantage of the situation. Kids playing in the ground, you waving your hand at your friend. So by looking at your friend, you feel happy. Out of joy and out of happiness, you wave your hand at your friend. Kids play in the ground, so they find pleasure in it. They enjoy playing. So these are the situations where these changes in the environment are taken as advantages for their pleasure, for their happiness. And that's how we respond to the external situations, respond to the changes in the external situations. These are the major reasons why response to stimulus is important in an organism. Is this clear to you? Well, we'll move further then. So we have understood what is this control and coordination system. It is highly organized and very well managed. Various organs of the body are very well coordinated and communicated. And I have told you there are two types of responses. The common thing is movements what we observed in all these examples. There is another type of response, secretion of chemicals. That is, there are two major pathways wherein control and coordination happens in our body. The two pathways are, or two main pathways, or you can just say ways of transferring information, from one part of the body to another. From one part of the body to another. So what happens in all these responses? Information has been transferred, right, from one part of the body to another. What are those two pathways? One is the nervous system. We are all very much aware of this. The nervous system entailing brain, spinal cord, nerves, sense organs. One is nervous system, the nervous system, and there is another system which is very, very important, that is endocrine system. The another pathway is via endocrine system. What happens in nervous system is, nervous system includes nervous system includes sending electrical signals or electrical impulses. These electrical impulses or electrical signals are also referred to as nerve impulses. Electrical signals or electrical impulses through nerves with the help of neurons, through nerves. This includes transferring of electrical signals through nerves, and this includes sense organs, the 5 sense organs, and the brain, the master, spinal cord, muscles wherein effect is seen, muscles, and also glands. These are other type of glands. Wherein there is another pathway or another kind of system referred to as endocrine system. You must have heard this term, endocrinology, the most emerging branch in medical field. Endocrinology, something related to endocrine system. This is another pathway, and this endocrine system is also referred to as chemical mode of transmission, or this is also known as chemical coordination. So what happens in endocrine system? This includes sending certain type of chemical signals, chemical signals through blood, directly through blood to the target organs. So these chemicals are secreted by ductless glands known as endocrine system. So group of ductless glands, take part in this, and these ductless glands secrete chemicals known as hormones. And what is this system called as? This is called as endocrine system, and this involves ductless glands. What is this ductless glands? Glands that do not have duct are referred to as ductless glands. I repeat, I think this information is very, very important to you before we could actually start with the nervous system, because you should know what are the 2 major pathways by which response is exhibited. So one thing is nervous system. We are very much aware of this nervous system, including brain, nervous system that entails brain and spinal cord and other neurons and there's electrical signaling, but there is also another pathway. So one thing is nervous system. It includes sending electrical signals or electrical impulses, or it is also referred to as nerve impulses, sending nerve impulses through nerves. Nervous system includes basic structures called as neurons. So via neurons, all this signaling mechanism happens. So there is a complex mechanism which we will study later. Receptors receive certain stimuli and are converted into electrical signals, and electrical signals travel throughout the body, and where it has to hit, they hit, and certain specific type of responses are exhibited. So specific type of responses are exhibited through muscles, by the contraction of muscles. This includes sense organs, the 5 sense organs: eyes, ears, nose, skin and tongue. the brain, the spinal cord, muscles, and also other set of glands. These are not endocrine glands, these are other type of glands, exocrine glands. So there is another system. Here signaling mechanism takes place via electric signals. There is also another mechanism in our body wherein signaling mechanism takes place through chemicals. Endocrine system. Endocrine system is the one which includes sending chemical signals. Certain type of chemicals are released on receiving the stimuli. Certain types of glands known as ductless glands or endocrine glands. Ductless glands, they do not have duct, they don't carry duct. Glands are something that secrete certain chemical substances called hormones. These hormones are directly released into the blood, and through blood it reaches the target organs and it does its work. Certain type of responses are exhibited there. So endocrine system is the one which includes sending chemical signals directly into the blood. They don't carry with the help of ducts. Ducts are certain tubes. So they don't have tubes, they don't have ducts. Directly these chemicals are released into the blood. Who is going to do that? Ductless glands are going to do that. They secrete chemical substances called as hormones. As chemical substances are secreted, this pathway is called as chemical coordination pathway. Is this clear to you? We'll be talking about this later. So now we'll be discussing about the nervous system in our body, the nervous system in animals. So let's move on to this. I hope this is clear to you, the two major pathways, or the two main ways of transferring information from one part of our body to another part of our body. So this transferring of information is very, very vital to protect ourselves, to decide something, to take actions. So the signaling mechanism in our body is very, very important, and this is done either by nervous system or by endocrine system. In certain situations, both of these work together. In most of the situations, both the nervous system and endocrine system, they work together to give certain type of responses. So now we'll understand what this nervous system is. The nervous system. Nervous system is nothing but a kind of a wiring system in our body, wires all around, wires from brain to other parts of our body, all over the body. It's nothing but a bundle of wires, highly complicated and highly specialized system. So nervous system is a kind of wiring mechanism in our body. This controls various movements of muscles. One thing you remember, in nervous system, the stimuli, the external changes are recognized or received by sense organs, whereas the effect or the responses are shown in muscles. So with this we'll move further. Nervous system is a type of wiring mechanism inside our body which controls movements of muscles. Controlling movements of muscles is, it controls responses based on the situation. Various types of responses are exhibited. So this nervous system is of three types. Nervous system. Before that, it controls various movements in muscles. How does it work? How does our nervous system work? We already know that nervous system entails brain, the spinal cord, nerves and muscles and various other glands. What happens in nervous system? Transfer of electrical signals takes place from one part of the body to another part of body. So what are the basic units that do this? The basic structures are neurons. Neurons or nerve cells. Neurons or nerve cells are the basic units of nervous system. The basic units of nervous system are neurons. Let me give you the same old example. How does this mechanism happens? Let's understand with an example again. The same old example. You are in a supermarket and you happen to meet your friend. The moment you see your friend, you wave your hand. What happens? Our eyes look at our friend. So our eyes recognizes that this is the friend, and chemical signals, they pass on to the brain, and they get converted into the electrical signals, and electric signals are carried to the brain, and the brain decides to wave hand and also to say hi or hello to your friend. The moment it decides, it also transfers these electrical signals to the bicep muscles. So the bicep muscles contract so that our forearm raises up and we wave our hand and also say hi to our friend. So the moment electrical signals are gone, our forearm is down again and everything is back to normal again. So this is how signaling mechanism. Electrical signals are generated, electrical signals are transferred from one region to another region. This is a situation wherein we decide. So but the moment we see our friend, we decide to say hi or hello. If the friend is very intimate to us, out of excitement we say. If the friend is not very intimate, we decide whether to say hi, hello or not. So this is a situation wherein we decide. Some moments are voluntary, some are involuntary. I'll give you another example. You touch a very hot object. Do you decide, do you think that whether I should take away my hand or not? Never, not even a second. Within a fraction of a second, we immediately take back our hand. This is what is known as reflex action. Even without a thought about it, even without thinking about it, we immediately show response. So this is what is known as reflex action. So whether it's a reflex action, voluntary or involuntary, what happens here is signaling mechanism is taking place. Electrical signals have been transferring from one part of the body to another part of our body, and the one that does all these things are neurons or the nerve cells. Nerve cells are the basic units of nervous system. So nervous system, there are major three types of nervous systems. One is central nervous system, and the other is peripheral nervous system, and another type of nervous system is autonomic nervous system. The central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. Central nervous system entails brain and spinal cord, whereas this peripheral nervous system consists of cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Cranial nerves and spinal nerves. We'll discuss about them later. So now we'll try to understand how a nervous system works with the help of a neuron diagram. So nervous system, basically there are three major types of nervous system. One is the central nervous system consisting of brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system having certain pairs of cranial nerves and spinal nerves. The other is autonomic nervous system. So now the next thing is we need to understand the working of a nervous system with the help of a neuron diagram. So what are neurons? Neurons are the basic units of nervous system which carry nerve impulses from one part of the body to another part of the body. They carry nerve impulses or electrical impulses. The other reason why biology is very interesting is because of the diagrams. We get to see and learn various types of diagrams, very interesting and colorful diagrams. Here is one such diagram, structure of a neuron. I'll draw the diagram now, and I hope you will draw the diagram. So while drawing diagrams, keep one thing in mind. In science, these diagrams fetch you more marks. Just by drawing diagrams neatly, it fetches marks to you. So do not neglect practicing diagrams. While drawing diagrams, use extra dark sharp pencils. And also keep in mind, the diagram is incomplete without labeling. So carefully label the parts, draw the diagram neatly, and also write the name of the diagram below the diagram always. Okay? Keep all these things in mind. Make your diagram look pretty. So this is the diagram of a neuron. So we'll draw it. Very simple diagram and very beautiful diagram. This is axon. Those are the dendrites, and this is a axon. Axon is a long tube-like structure. Neurons are highly specialized and very well developed types of cells. This is nucleus, and now I'll be completing these dendrites. So we are about to complete the diagram. The dendrites are done. Now the axon. So axon is a long tube-like structure, and it has got a ending, nerve ending or axon terminal. Axon terminal buttons are these. These are the axon terminal buttons or nerve endings. And this axon has a fatty layer upon it. This is a fatty layer. Myelin sheath, it is made up of fats and also proteins. This is known as the myelin sheath. The axon is covered by a layer made up of fats and proteins called as myelin sheath. This is a protective layer, and this layer is very important because it helps in speedy transferring of information. This nerve impulses are carried at a faster rate. You can color your diagram so that it looks pretty good. So once this is done, I'll have to outline it again so that it looks good. I hope you are done with the diagram. If you are done with the diagram, let's label them. So the central part is quite dark in color. Let's make it dark. Okay, so this is the nucleus part of it. You can color the axon and nerve ending also. This is the axon. It carries electrical signals. These are the nerve endings. Well, this is nucleus, and this whole region is referred to as soma cell body. The whole region here is referred to as cell body. Cell body, and these are dendritic tips. Dendrites or dendritic tips. Whereas this is axon. Axon is covered by a layer, I told you, myelin sheath, myelin, myelin sheath, sheath, sheath. Whereas this is cell body, we'll write it down. This is myelin sheath, whereas these are nerve endings. Nerve endings or axon terminal buttons. You could also name them as axon terminal buttons. This is structure of a neuron. The structure of a neuron. Hope you are done with the diagram, and this diagram shall be explained in the next class.